What the heck's the T-Riffic show? It appears to be a thing where the style keeps changing. First you laugh, then you feel, then you sing, then you think.
Wait, all that in one show?
Yes,
That's insane.
exactly.
You're doing a skit, got jokes to spit, so you wing it. That's absurd. You throw a pun, a slapstick run, and rhyme each silly word. Who would watch a guy in socks trip over props for fun? Apparently, everyone, because it's a comedy where laughter writes the melody with goofy gags and pratfall tags and punchlines flying faster than the flags. Silly faces, weird embraces, nothing's quite as freeing as a comedy. But what if the jokes get tired and the crowd's desire turns low? You grab a pen, you sigh again, and turn the lights down slow. Now hearts are breaking softly, the spotlight fades to blue. It's a balladry where words are painted tenderly with whispered chords and soft rewards and feelings floating gently through the chords. One tear, one true, one soul set free. That's the poetry of balladry. But wait, what's that sound? A beat, a groove, a key change born to move. We got rhythm in our veins, and the crowd begins to sway again. It's a musical, a jam so bright it's beautiful, with riffs that pop and hearts that bop, and everyone claps till the beat won't stop. Snap your fingers, feel that vibe. We're alive inside this musical. And when the music fades away and laughter's had its time, we settle down to stories told in meter, prose, or rhyme. For every giggle, every tear has led to something true. It's a chronicle of dreams that grow ironical, with twists and turns and lessons learned and tales that make your spirit burn. One heart, one mic, one soul to share. It's life retold in chronicle flair. A comedy, a balladry, a musical, a chronicle sincere. From laughs to feels, from beats to tales, the T-Riffic show prevails. Get a dazzling, heartfelt truth and giggle, show it all.
Hello, my T-Riffic friends. Welcome back to the T-Riffic Show. Tonight we are exploring all the monsters that we know. Yes, the ones that creep into our minds at night. The ones that whisper small what-ifs, turning small worries into great big fears. But here's the deal. Not all monsters are as scary as they seem. No, some are just a little misunderstood, a little lonely, or just in need of a friend, or a laugh, or a giggle. So tighten your blankets, hold on to your courage, and let's meet someone who knows a thing or two about worry.
Let me tell you something. I am not scared of the dark. I'm scared of what my brain does. I will accuse a jacket of having bad intentions. So it's 2 a.m., right? I'm in my room, everything normal. Now that chair been there all day. We got history. But tonight, it got a sock on it. And the sock is positioned like it pays rent.
Just leaning. Comfortable.
And my brain goes, why is it shaped like that? Exactly, why? So now I'm looking at it, like if I get the right angle, it's gonna confess. I'm like, say something, I know you alive. And it's quiet. Which makes it worse, because now it's like, oh, you the silent type? You dangerous. So I try to ignore it. Big mistake. Because the second you ignore one weird thing, your brain starts scanning for more. Now I look down. There's a pencil on the floor. And it rolls. Just it remembered something. I said, oh! So now objects just be finishing thoughts? What was you about to do? Where you was headed? Now I'm looking at the pencil, and I realize I'm in the middle of something. I don't know what, but I'm involved. So I get in the bed, because the bed is safe. The bed got rules. The bed got boundaries. But the second I get comfortable, my brain goes, you didn't check under it. Why does my brain want me dead? You had all day to bring that up. Now it's urgent? So now I gotta do the look. Not a full look, a sample.
Because here's the thing, I don't need to see anything. If I feel like something is there, that's enough information. I trust vibes over evidence at 2 a.m.
So now I'm back in bed, legs tucked up, because I don't know what's under there, but I know it specializes in ankles. That feels like its department. Then I look across the room, and I see a teddy bear, just sitting there.
Smiling?
Now, let me ask y'all something. Have you ever seen something smiling when nobody told it a joke? That's suspicious! You moved! I saw you! Don't play innocent with me.
I'll be watching you.
So now I'm looking at everything. The sock, the pencil, the under the bed situation, and that teddy bear just sitting there like, I said, oh, you the reason. You the mastermind.
Everything else? Distractions. You? Upper management.
So now I gotta confront it, because I'm not about to be uncomfortable in a room I pay for. So I get up. I wish something would happen. Nothing ever happens when you say that. It's just you lying confidently. So I reach out and I poke it. Nothing. I poke it again. Still nothing. So I pick it up and it's soft. That's it. That's what had me stressed. Fabric stuffing, no thoughts, no plans, no evil. Meanwhile, I done created a whole conspiracy. The sock was surveillance. The pencil was transportation. The bear was leadership. Whole time, I'm the only one with a brain in the room. And I'm using it wrong.
And that's when I realized I don't actually need a horror movie. My imagination got a full production team. Casting, lighting, sound design, all of it.
And still got me scared of a teddy bear with no job. But let me tell you something before I go. I still ain't touched that sock, because I'm not stupid.
Thank you, dramatic Delilah. That was very, well, dramatic. This next segment captures courage, growing in places where fear once ruled.
Shadows stretch and drift and change, long and warped and slightly strange, bending into fragile shapes that almost form, but never take. Corners whisper, soft yet near, never loud, but always here. Secrets carried in the air, thoughts that rise without our care. Something shifts we can't allow. Stillness pressing on us now, like the room has learned to wait, holding breath to contemplate. Monsters move with quiet feet, gentle taps and subtle beat. Not a crash, not wild or fast, just enough for them to last. Flickering along the seams, half-born figures, broken dreams, living in that fragile space between the real and what we place. In the corners of the room, in the mind where shadows bloom, they collect without a sound, built from what we've pushed down, formed from memory, formed from fear. Every thought we left unclear. All the feelings we delayed shape the monsters that we made. They expand when we don't face, stretching out in unseen space, growing larger in the night, far beyond our line of sight. But then courage starts to grow, not in ways that loudly show, but in quiet, hidden places fear believes it never faces. It begins within a breath, soft defiance under stress, choosing stillness, choosing stay, when we once had turned away. Living in the smallest acts, gentle words and steady backs, hands that reach and voices near, saying softly, I am here. Laughter, fragile, standing by, not to make the fear deny, but to hold it side by side, giving both a place inside. Then the room begins to bend, not in fear but something mends. Monsters linger, not yet gone, but their certainty feels drawn. Something shifts within the air. Light has found its way in there. Even shadows start to break when we choose to stay awake. Call them out or speak their name. Sit with them without the game. Do not feed what they demand. Simply meet them where they stand. Rhythms falter, patterns shake. Edges dull and slowly break. What once towered, filled with dread, softens under, light instead. What felt vast and far too wide, now is something we can guide. Something seen without the fall, without losing self at all. Fear was never meant to end. It was there to try to send signals pointing deep inside toward the things we tend to hide. Not a wall, but something more. Like a quiet hidden door, leading inward, asking we face what longs to simply be. It invites us just to stay, not to turn or run away, but to meet the parts we've known as the ones we've left alone. And in doing so, we find corners shift within the mind, not erased, but rearranged, present still, but somehow changed. Shadows soften into lines, lines reveal familiar signs. What was once a fear-filled view turns to something clear and true. The room exhales, the tension frees, and with it comes a gentler ease. Standing there, we come to see what we feared is not the key, not without the marks we've earned, but with wisdom slowly learned. Still within ourselves we stand, whole and starting to understand. Step by step, we come to know even where the dark may grow, there remains beneath it all space for light to gently call.
And now, it is time for the musical heart of tonight's fears and courage. This next song captures racing thoughts, sleepless nights, and what ifs that make the monsters under the bed, or any monster under the bed for that matter, seem a lot bigger than it actually is.
There's a quiet in the night that won't let me sleep. Every thought like a shadow, every doubt runs deep. I replay every moment, every what if I know, like a storm in my chest with nowhere to go. I was tracing every fear like it's drawn in stone. Every crack in my heart felt like home alone. And the silence would whisper, you're not enough. Yeah, the dark had a way of sounding so rough. But somewhere in the noise a melody appeared, soft as a whisper breaking through the fear. I turned my worry into wonder, let it rise, let it thunder. Every trembling note I hide, now it sings from deep inside. All the cares, all the cries, found a rhythm in disguise. Now the fear I used to run from sounds like wonder when it comes. I was holding my breath, like the world might break. Every step felt like one too much to take, but the cracks let the light slip through somehow. And I'm hearing a different sound now. the dissonance guide me home. If it trembles, I let it be heard. Even silence can carry a word. I turn my worry into wonder. Feel it go, feel it under. Every scar I tried to hide now becomes my lullaby. All the chaos, all the cries, painted colors in the sky. Now the fear I used to run from sings like wonder when it comes. So I won't fear the sound of breaking. It's just something new awakening, and every worry I've been under is just a step toward wonder.
Fear, worry, and monsters are definitely tricky, but they are definitely not undefeatable. Now, folks, we bring you a story of a character who learns that even the scariest of monsters can be faced, and maybe even befriended.
Mina tossed and turned beneath her blanket, pulling it tight under her chin, then loosening it again when the air felt too still. The room was the same as always. The same walls, the same dresser, the same soft glow from the hallway light slipping through the crack of her door. But tonight, everything felt different. Every creak of the house sounded louder than it should. A slow tap in the walls. A quiet shift in the ceiling. The gentle swish of her curtains felt like something moving on purpose. Mina held her breath, then let it out quickly as if being too quiet might make whatever was there notice her. She squeezed her eyes shut, then opened them again, because somehow, seeing the dark felt better than imagining it. Her hand slid cautiously under her pillow. She didn't know why she checked. She just did. And every time she did, her heart beat faster. Because the monster under her pillow wasn't just a thought. It felt real. Not in the way you could see or touch, but in the way something sits in your chest and refuses to leave. It felt like it was waiting. Mina pulled her hand back quickly and hugged her blanket tighter. "I'm okay," she whispered to herself, but her voice didn't sound convinced. Another creak. Mina froze. She turned her head slowly toward the door, and just then it opened a little more. A small face peeked in. Her little brother. He didn't burst in. Didn't flip on the lights. Didn't laugh or tell her she was being silly. He just looked at her for a moment, quietly taking in the room, the shadows, the way she held her blanket a little too tightly. Then he said softly, "Want me to sit with you?" Mina hesitated, just for a second. Then she nodded. He walked in without rushing, like there was no emergency, like everything was already okay. He climbed onto the edge of the bed and sat beside her. Not too close at first, just close enough. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The room was still the same. The sounds were still there, but something had changed. Mina glanced at him. "You hear that?" she whispered. He listened. Another soft creak. Another shift in the air. "Yeah," he said. And that was it. No big explanation. "No, it's nothing. Just, yeah." And somehow that felt better. "Do you think there's something here?" Mina asked. He thought about it, then said, "Maybe." Mina's eyes widened, but before fear could take over, he added, "Or maybe it just feels like there is." They sat quietly again. "Let's listen together," he said. So they did. Not listening for danger, just listening to the house settling, to the soft rhythm of the night, to our breathing, he added, in and out. Mina followed. At first, her breaths were shaky, too quick, too uneven, but his were slow, steady, so she matched them, in and out, in and out. The room didn't change, but the feeling in her chest did. After a while, he spoke again. "What do you think the monster looks like?" Mina blinked. "I don't know. Kind of small?" "Like how small?" She thought about it. Maybe like a crumpled sock." He nodded seriously. "Yeah, that sounds right." "And it's under my pillow," she added. "Of course it is," he said. They both paused. Then he asked, "What if it's not trying to scare you?" Mina frowned. "Then what's it doing?" He shrugged. "Maybe it's just worried." Mina blinked again. "Worried?" "Yeah," he said. Like when I think there's something in my closet. She looked at him. You get scared too? All the time, he said. No hesitation, no embarrassment, just truth. Mina thought about the monster again. The small, crumpled shape in her imagination. Not sharp. Not loud. Just there. What if it's scared of me? She said slowly. He smiled a little. That would make sense. They both looked at the pillow. Neither of them moved right away. Then carefully, Mina slid her hand underneath. She paused, then reached a little further, and a little further, until nothing. Just fabric. Just softness. She pulled her hand back out. There's nothing there, she said. Her voice sounded different now. Lighter. Yeah, he said. They looked at each other. And then they laughed. Not loudly. Not wildly. Just enough to break whatever spell had been sitting in the room. The shadows didn't disappear. The house still creaked. The curtains still moved. But none of it felt the same. Mina lay back against her pillow. This time she didn't check under it. Her brother leaned back beside her. For a little while they just stayed there, breathing, listening, not trying to fix anything. Eventually her eyes grew heavy. Thanks, she murmured. Any time, he said. And when he slipped quietly off the bed and padded back to the door, he left it open just a little wider than before. Bye. Morning sunlight filled the room without asking permission. Everything looked smaller, softer, ordinary again. Mina sat up and looked around. The chair was just a chair. The curtains just curtains. The pillow just a pillow. She smiled to herself. Because something had changed, not the room, but how she met it. And she realized something gentle, something she knew she might forget and learn again someday. Monsters aren't always something to fight. Sometimes they're just feelings waiting to be noticed. Sometimes they're small and quiet and unsure, just like us. And sometimes, all they need is a little attention, a little courage, and if you can manage it, a little company in the dark.
Remember, my T-Riffic friends, monsters come in many forms. Fear, doubt, shadows, but fear can retreat, and monsters can shrink when you face them with courage, humor, and support from your friends. So with those three things intact, courage, hope, and support from friends, keep facing the monsters. And more importantly, stay terrific.